Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Braggers Creations, and thank you for joining me for today's live stream. What's going on there? Yeah, that looks okay. I had a little bit of trouble with sound last time, a few crackles and pops and stuff like that, so please let me know if the sound is yucky. I am a little bit distracted at the moment, and you may even see some smoke rise. And that is because right at this particular moment, I am in the process of removing components from an SE30 board. And I'm just going to go to top view here, and I will just focus a little bit. There we go. So there is the board. And I might just turn on the Fume extractor. I know it's a bit annoying. I'll do all of the normal hellos and all that sort of stuff in just a moment. Thank you to everyone who has joined. But I set this up and I thought, you know what, I'll get all these components off before the live stream starts. But this board just took so long to heat up that I didn't do that. So I've managed to get all of the RAM slots off in one piece. I've managed to get the video RAM chips off. And so now if I can get the PDS slot and the ROM slot, I do actually have replacements of these ROMs slots somewhere, I think. But I'm just not sure where. They're in this workshop somewhere. So ideally what I would be taking off this will be the PDS slot, the ROM, the sound chips, the resistor nets from up here, this little choky thing, whatever it is, the Who's a Fudge thing, and that's probably all I'll need. Everything else I can make up. I have plans for, so this is basically for this reloaded board, which is just ended up covered in white dust, so sorry about that. I have a plan for this, and I'm going to be discussing that in a moment. So I've got a few things to do with SE30s today. One is I'm going to do a quick recap. I'll do that in a moment, as soon as I've finished here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to probably work on, well, I'm going to actually demonstrate something that I got from Will, KMac Vintage, something he sent to me. And hopefully he can help me with it, because so far I haven't had much success, but I'm probably doing something wrong. So just a little back, what I have done so far, Will, is I have gone to that GitHub that you had the link to. I have downloaded those files, expanded them, got the SD card, formatted as exFAT, copied all those files to the root directory, popped it into the Pi, and I have an ATX power supply here ready to go. And I have a little display here that I can get an HDMI output from, so hopefully we'll be able to have a look at that, and that will be in just a moment. I'll probably do that actually before the recap. But anyhow, the moment I'm just waiting for this. Oh, here we go. Here comes the ROM slot. How exciting. Is everyone excited? I'm excited. Yay! One ROM slot coming off without any problems whatsoever. That's always nice. Okay, so now while we're just waiting for this to heat up, I will do my normal thing and I'll say my hellos to everyone. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say hello to Thomas Armstrong, hello to Colin from This Does Not Compute. Again, just caught up with Colin a minute ago. We had a Tinker Different board meeting, and Colin is now on the board of Tinker Different. So that's a wonderful thing for Tinker Different. Tev Rudin, hello. Steve from Mac84. Foxhound477, hello. Charlie Gellar, hello. Will, hello. KMac, hello. There's a Will from KMac, hello. Who else? We've got Jack68K. We've got Gibbertronics. Hello, Gibbertronics. That's Luke, is that right? I think. And what else we got? Turbo Speed. Mystery Margot. 211 Tooth. That's Sol. What else have we got? What else we got? Quicksilver Oz, hello, and am I missing anyone here? Still going. Have to go back a long way, haven't I? Callan, hello, and BC Jeffro, hello, and Apple's Anonymous Nick, hello, and Sean Action Retro, hello. Sean just got a new video out. I have to have a look at that when I get a moment. He's punching out so many videos now. Goodness me. Barely has time to watch them all. Eric's Edge, hello. Eric Helgeson, hello. Francois, hello. Point 5, hello. AWT, hello. Justin is here, hello, Justin. Tommy Thomas. Boy, there's a lot here. Garrett Taylor, hello. T. Miller, hello. Have I missed anyone? If I've missed anyone, I do apologise. The Fixer, hello. Okay, so let's see if we're getting any closer here to the PDS slot. This heated bed always seems to be warmer on this side. I don't know why. Often when removing these PDS slots, some of the pins end up getting stuck behind, but they're actually really easy to just shove straight back in again, so it's not really an issue. You just remove them separately and then you poke them back in. As long as you don't actually melt the plastic, that's the main thing. So what I might do, I might put this around like that. So I've got the PDS slot on the warm bit. And I need to shove something in here. Like that. Okay, so that hot plate is like 3.5 kilowatts. No, this isn't that one. I bought a new one. I bought one with Australian voltage. So I bought, the story to that is, if anyone has actually followed the story, I bought one of these hot plates from US Amazon. And even though it was advertised as saying it was 110 volts, there was a sticker on the back of one of the photos that said like 110/240 or something like that. I can't remember. But there was something in there that made me think, you know what, even though it's being advertised as a 110 because it's a US sale, I reckon this might work on 240 volt we have here. And so I took the chance. And it didn't. It was a 110 volt. But then what I did was I changed the transformer in it so that it would accept that. But it needed more than just a transformer. It needed a few other things as well. Because when I did plug it in, while it did work, it consumed, it used like about, I don't know, it was something crazy. It was like 5,000 watts or something of power while it was running. And so, yeah, it wasn't right. So I went and bought myself a proper one. Hey, out comes the little real-time clock chip. We can use that. Out you come, little chap. And may as well whip up the old... this is a new one. This is a, what do you call these things? Oscillator. And I bent the frickin' pins when I put it in. I don't normally do that. I'm very cross at myself. Yeah. Yeah, it did heat up very fast. I will give it that. First time I actually used it, I actually was chatting to sort of like the Mac guys at the time, and I was sending them just like video reports of what was going on, and I set it up outside with an extension lead so that I could stand way away from it. But yeah, it heated up and it got hot, but. Yeah, every now and again when I would use it, I would blow a fuse. Not surprisingly, or trip the circuit breaker anyway. So I thought, no, this is something I actually want to have functional, usable, something that I can put on a live stream while I'm using it, like I am at the moment. Again, apologise for the noise of the Fume extractor, but got to think about your health when you're doing this stuff. Yeah. So, and this has worked out quite well. It's finding that sweet spot with the power. If you have it too hot, you end up just burning all of the stuff holding the board together. It leaks out this horrible black, stinky stuff, and it's really, really bad. It gets the stuff off nice and quick and easy, but you know it's just awful toxic. If you go with a lower temp, it'll do the job, but you have to wait and 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 wait. Oh, hello, Kai. How are you doing? Saw Kai just a moment ago as well. Fast asleep, and the cat is hassling. In what way is the cat hassling you? Come on. We are indeed parts harvesting. This is for my SE 30 reloaded board, which is, you know, about probably, I'd say 75% complete. Certainly 75% away from being able to try and boot it up. And I want a PDS slot. Come on, give up the goods, mate. Something just fell down. Oh, that was my little bolt that I put there before, which is probably very hot. Sitting on my feet trying to consume my toes. Okay, no worries. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, I don't care anything about this actual PCB. I don't care if it's never able to be used again. This is a very, very badly battery damaged board. I ended up getting this one. I think I did it as part of a swap deal. I think I gave someone something and they had this battery damaged board and they said, you want it? And so I did it. I did a swapsies or something like that. And I started trying to repair it. And I repaired a whole stack of traces, and that's all good. And look, I could have kept going with it, but it was around about that time that I then ended up with this SE30 reloaded board. And so I thought, I may as well use this one. It's going to be better. And I have a plan for it, and I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on. I have a plan for what I want to do with this board. I am going to be dedicating a few videos in the future to custom builds. I don't know if anyone here saw my mini Quadra 700 video that I did. It was quite a popular video, so there's a good chance that people who are watching did see it. And in that, I basically made a little mini Quadra 700 case and put a Raspberry Pi in it and a speaker and an amplifier and stuff like that. And I got very good feedback from that video, and I thought to myself, I think I would like to do some more of these custom builds that involve a bit of 3D modeling, 3D printing, creating stuff. And I've already made another thing which I've showed on this channel a couple of times. It's what I call a Power Macintosh 4750, and I'm already partway into production of that video, and that one will be coming out soon. And then I've also got an idea for a custom build with this board that I'm going to be working on. Yeah, it's all fun, it's all enjoyable, it's all the sort of stuff that we like doing. Because we nerds. One of the things that I do when I'm trying to get these off is I push the board down so the pins are resting on the metal, and then I push the actual board down, and so that it's sort of pushing down on the pins. It works quite well. And then once you kind of got a bit of space in there, you can then try and prise off the connector. Now, this one's being stubborn, but look, it's a lot to melt. The RAM guys came off really easily. Very happy with that. My apologies if this is a little bit on the boring side. I really did think that I would get the majority of this done before I started the live stream, but the live stream started just after I'd only just removed these. So, oh joy, oh joy. I just released a video, I think it was last week, a review for a multimeter. This guy here, the Kaiweets HT118E. So it doesn't roll off the tongue as well as KM601, but I was very, very happy with that multimeter. It's a very different style of multimeter to the KM601, so it's the sort of thing where they're about the same price. You can kind of make the decision. You want that one or do you want that one? The 601 has lovely big color display, which, because I'm a huge fan of. I think they're really nice. And then this one here has the click wheel, and there are a lot of people that much prefer a click wheel when it comes to how the multimeter works. And of course, it's just a monochrome screen as well. But anyhow, I knew that video was doing well because I started getting really stupid comments from people. And this is one of the things that I've talked to some of my other friends who have YouTube channels. The stupider the comments that come in, the more successful the video is. So it's just kind of, you just gauge it on that. I need something in here that's metal to try and prop this up a bit, because I just feel like I'm not getting the best contact with the metal plate here. Oh, look at that, we've got a little socket that we can just lift off there. Hey. Okay, Kaiweets. I realised the other day that I've actually reviewed now 4 separate Kaiweets products. The KM601, this multimeter here, the soldering iron, and thermal camera. I just didn't even realise it had been 4 already, but it has been 4. My general feeling is, of all of those 4, I've been pretty impressed with all of them. The thermal camera, there are better thermal cameras out there, but in terms of, bang for buck, that thermal camera is pretty good for the price it is. Oops, I just removed a diode. Come on, man. This thing is so close to coming off now. I have behind me here, I'm just going to change cameras here for a second. I'm just going to jump across to here. I have behind me a new thing. You will not have seen this in the background before. The great big Creality logo on it. This here is a Creality Halo Mage S 14K resin 3D printer. And then I have this thing here, which is a washer as well. And I am sort of doing a review for this, but what I'm actually doing is I'm doing a video which is going to be about people who are used to filament style printing getting into the world of resin printing. Because if you're someone, does the resin printing smell much? Well, yes and no. So there are a couple of things. First of all, some resins smell more than others. The resin that I use to print my little floppy eject cogs, which if you're wondering why they're blue, it's because the tough resin is blue. But this resin stinks. It really stinks. The Creality resin that I got from them, they've got a high precision resin and they've got a fast printing resin. They don't smell much at all. They're pretty good. But the other thing is this does have a filtration system inside it, and then the air from that filtration system, what comes out of it, is actually piped out the back of the shed. So when this is running and that filtration is on, don't smell a single thing. And at the moment, to be honest, I don't smell anything from this at all. But when I was using this blue resin, which I really did not like working with at all, it's awful stuff, that one you could smell. That was really stinky. Started resin and then went to... Oh, look, I think they complement each other. So let me give you an example. I want to show you something here. If I can find it. I'm sure I had it here a second ago. First of all, you can't print floppy eject cogs with filament printing. Just like simple as that. And I wanted to print floppy eject cogs. And by the way, I printed a few. But I've got something. I had it here just before, but since then I've moved a lot of things around, so it's probably... But anyhow, we will have to talk about it without looking at something. We'll just be... Let's play imagination game. I want you to imagine say a Quadra... Say 650, I think. Oh, Jesus, sorry. There are, what do you call those things? Whee! It's coming off. It's coming off, friends. Ouch. And we only lost one pin. So I'll pop that on manually. So imagine a Quadra 650. Now, the front of the Quadra 650 is a little push button to start it. It sticks out the front. So it's a little dome-shaped thing with a circle around the outside and a line down the middle. Now, these things have a tendency to break. They get brittle. They snap. Now, you can go in and print that in filament. You're going to have the strength and everything, but you're not going to get the finish on the front of that button looking as good. So what you can do is you can actually pair them, and you can end up reproducing the front of the button using resin, and then the rest of the button using filament, and then just glue the two together. That's the sort of thing that I really like the ability to do. It's having that that ability to sort of get that incredible precision where required, but then getting that size and strength where required with the filament printing. Hello, Christopher Bourne. Hello, Max Button. Have I missed anyone else? Roger Salter. Hello. Did I say hello to Gothan? Hello if I haven't. Now, if anyone's wondering why I printed floppy eject cogs, the reason is that I actually, well, there are two reasons. First of all, a lot of the floppy eject cogs that are being sold overseas, so I have to pay for the shipping to get them from overseas. Here in Australia, there used to be someone that was selling floppy eject cogs, and I bought a few. There are a couple of companies selling them, actually. There was someone selling little white ones, which I think I have here. They were okay. They weren't terribly bad, but they were okay. So I had these little white ones here. And then there was another company selling these green ones. The green ones were no good. They might be better now, the company making them, but the time I bought these is terrible. They're just a really bad fit. They didn't spin very well. The white ones, they were a much better fit. They were good. But again, I just always felt like I could make them better. So I went in and modeled the STL, or modeled the file, the 3D file, and printed them and made some refinements and got them exactly how I wanted them. And they are 100% my creation. And that was what I wanted. And I also wanted an inexhaustible supply, so I didn't have to buy any more. And I may even sell them to Australians. I've made that many. I mean, I may as well. It's crazy not to. So I'll probably put them up on eBay for other Aussies to buy them if they want. So, Paul Biley, hello. Did you say, Max, did you say that something has happened to your eBay account? Sorry. Coming back. I know I got blocked by someone from buying things from them. I think I don't know, I probably said something on the YouTube channel they didn't like. Took exception to. It's like, that's probably something I would do. Mm-hmm. It's going to. If I switch that on as well, I'll probably end up blowing a fuse, so I won't do that. Oh, okay. Apple's not had you blocked from years and years ago. What did you do? What did you do? Oh, no. Hello, Dana. Hello. Welcome. Eating Tim Tams. That is my idea of heaven. The ones that I love the original ones. The original Tim Tams are just beautiful. I love them at room temperature. But I also love, they have ones here called Chewy Caramel. So they're a standard Tim Tam, but they have a little strip of caramel down the middle of them. Yum. They're so nice. I don't mind the white ones as well. Jared Burma, hello there. So, just going to see if I can get a few more. I've nearly got everything off that I need from this. Everything else I can probably get off via just from the other side, just with a hot air station. Really, all of these I can get off with a hot air station. What I wanted to get off with this was the PDS slot, the ROM slot, and the RAM. I've managed to get a whole bunch of other stuff as well, so it's a good day. Yeah, good old Adrian. How many packets did Adrian take with him? So this is Adrian Franulovic, for anyone who doesn't know him. He is the president of the Australian Computer Museum Society. For any Aussies out here that didn't know it existed, if you do a search for the Australian Computer Museum Society, I did a video on them on my channel a little while ago, where I went there for a visit one day. And Adrian is also a very nice person. I have gone out to dinner with him a couple of times and drinks afterwards, and sort of chaos has ensued. Adrian also, there was a video of him with Luke Miami. Luke came out here to have a look at Adrian's personal collection, and I think anyone would struggle to say that they have a larger collection of boxed Apple products in the world. Adrian bought an old school so that he had somewhere to put his collection. And he's actually going to turn it into a museum as well. So, yeah. I'm just going to have a look here. Adrian has, I think, 3 leases. He has an original you know, 5.25-inch Lisa 1 Type 1, and I think he has two of the Lisa 2s, or you know, Mac XL, whatever they used to call them. Bye, Kai. Thank you for joining. Always happy to see you here, even though I do appreciate that it's very, very late over there. It would be, let me think. It would be 2 in the morning, I think. I want to see Adrian. Yeah, look, I mean, I had an opportunity to go see it, but unfortunately it was on a weekend where I was doing something else, so I couldn't. But I plan to get over there and have a look at some stage. I mean, certainly if you have a look at the video from Luke Miani, you'll get a bit of an idea of what he has. And of course, it's not just computers; it's, you know, printed materials, posters, brochures, the whole thing. It's quite amazing. It's extraordinary. I think I'm tired of this. If I could get these... Oh, I can't. I've just got to change the view to the top here. If I can get the resistor nets off this way, I think I'll be happy, and then I'll leave the rest, because these resistors, if you hit them with hot air, they go brown, and I'd rather not have them go brown. Larry Maloney. Lars Minestrone. That's something that we have in our little chat group, where we try and come up with all sorts of funny different names for Luke Miami. Oh, you're not off just yet? Okay, cool. I was saying hi to Foxhound. There you go. Sorry, I misunderstood. I read something. 2:26 a.m. Goodness me. You can see what time it is here, because it's up on the top left-hand corner. It's 11:30, so thereabouts. Scarlet Swordfish, hello there. Ascertain 20, I don't think I said hello to you. I might have, but... Brain like a sieve, you know? I have got a situation at the moment I've got to try and resolve. I've got a car in the driveway that I don't use anymore, and I need to sell it. But I've been using it for vintage Mac storage now for quite some time. It has... 2 G3 iMacs, 2 G5 iMacs, 3 or 4 mirror drive doors, a Quicksilver, a G4 Titanium, a couple of what's the black Mac? Not the Director's Edition, but just it's a 5700 or something like that. 5400. I don't know, something like that. Got 2 of those sorts of compact Macs. I think 2 5400s or whatever they are. What else? There's a few more. Anyhow, it's full of Macs. Full of them. And those Macs need somewhere to go when I sell the car. So that's my next challenge. Oh, come on, hurry up and get what? I might just turn the temp up on this, because I'm starting to grow impatient. I hate to think what it's like for you guys. There we go. 350 degrees. 350 in the centigrade Celsius scale. I wouldn't mind getting these off as well, actually. These are a bugger to remove by other means, but I'm not even sure. I don't need the floppy connector for the project I have. I will need ADB. I don't need serial, but I will need ADB. And I will need... I'll need the external SCSI connector. Internal's fine. I can just put new ones on. This solder's melting. Why isn't this melting? I'm melting. Need these little guys as well. Should just tear these off, actually. Yeah, just like that. Tear them off. Yeah. These are self-healing fuses, these ones, in case anyone was not aware of that. So they will blow, but then they will actually come back together again. Ah, the sound chips have been finally reverse engineered. Excellent. look, we've got sound chips coming off. Oops. I think the pins might have been bent on the other side. On the other side. That's something you should always check for before you start removing them. Make sure that there aren't bent pins. Because it depends on who built the thing, but why are these things being so stubborn? One. I mean, honestly, I don't mind if I pull the veer out with these, to be honest. Wow, entire Mac Plus board using 0 custom old parts. That's amazing. Is anyone paying some stupid high storage costs on AU? Yes, I am. And yes, they do keep going up. And yes, they know that they can keep doing it because you're not going to move all your stuff, you know. They know that people who have committed to storage have nowhere to put their stuff. And so they can just keep putting the price up because you're not going to take it anywhere. And I think there's also a bit of a monopoly going on. There used to be a few different companies, but I think one of them is just gradually buying out all the other ones. But yes, storage is insanely expensive here. Here she comes. Nearly. There we go. I did pull out of there with that one, but once again, not overly concerned about that. Buy a shipping container and then put it where? I'm nearly done here, folks, and then we can move on to some more interesting things. God, are these pins bent? Ah, stuff them. I'll pull them out another way. Just get this one last. This guy out. And I'll be happy. Whee! I always find myself getting more, less and less patient with these things the more I go. And so whereas I start off taking things off really carefully and gently, and then all of a sudden I'm breaking things left, right, and center. We've all been there, right? Right? Okay, I'm just going to put that pin back in. This is going to need some cleaning up before I actually stick it into the Mac. Oh, that's right. In actual fact, I probably don't need that PDS slot at all, for the project that I'm doing. Everything's hot. I've turned the temp up, and I can clearly see this is the point where it starts delaminating, starting to get bubbles. So, and that's when it starts getting all stinky. So I'm going to try and keep this like this for a minimum amount of time. Let's say just got to get this one little last guy off, and he wants to come off. He wants to come off. And then the rest I'll take off with hot air or some other means. The one good thing I would say about my storage unit is it's very, very close to where I live. So if I need to go grab something, it's like I can just hop into the car and it's a really quick scoot over there to go in, I'll lock it, grab it, bring it back. You know, like I was doing a video recently and I needed something that was in there and I was able to just dart down there, grab it, come back again. So that is extremely convenient, I have to say. I live in Sydney, right? Sydney is a ridiculously expensive place to live, and I have. Is this going to come off? No. And I have a pretty small house because Sydney is so expensive. I mean, it's a 3-bedroom house with sort of combined living dining area, relatively small kitchen. My laundry is outside, only 1 bathroom, so it is a very modest little house. In the Sydney market, it's probably worth $900,000, something like that, getting close to $1 million. Yeah, I mean, that's what I have. I can't really afford to have anything bigger, so I have 3 sheds in my backyard and I have a storage unit. Because I do have a lot of stuff. Now, I don't need to have a lot of stuff, but I do have a lot of stuff. You know, all vintage Macs and all that sort of stuff, and 3D printing, and and we don't have basements in Sydney. We absolutely do not have basements in Sydney. You might find some houses where, you know, there might be a garage, and you know, on ground level, and then a house on top. And they might have a section underneath next to the garage, which is sort of a storagey type area. That's probably about the closest you get, but an actual underground basement, no. We don't have those here at all. This one is so close. But I don't want to break it. So I don't mind popping a V. I just don't want to wreck the resistor. Ow! Come on! I think this might have a bent pin on the other side. I'm using excessive force now. It's got to that point. Non-Mr. Lurchway. What is non-Mr. Lurchway? I just don't understand that. Alright, I think I've exhausted my patience with this one. I think the rest of this is going to come out via soldering iron or other means. So, going to switch this little fella off now. Oh, the lights came bright again. Let me just figure out how I'm going to do this without burning oneself. Excuse me. All went well, though. I mean, I'm pretty pleased with the way all that went. I got all of the things off that I really wanted. I just found another PDS slot. Nice. I think that one was from 2FX or something. It might be a new bus slot. Kai's 2FX that I have to finish. Still a lot of work to do on that, unfortunately. Okay. Going to put this out here for it to cool down, and I will put the hot thing in a spot that I have for it, where it should do minimal damage in its super hot state. Might melt a couple of things, but nothing important. Oh, I might take it away from that lithium-ion battery, though. That might be a good idea. All right. Right, okay. So we can concentrate on more interesting things now. So let me just get this camera in a kind of a different position. I don't know why. There we go. All right. So I want you all to pay attention to this little thing. I'm just going to get some focus. Right, so this was gifted to me very kindly by Will from KMac Vintage. Now, this is it's called SE30 Compact, and this is kind of a new thing. There are other things like it, but this one is sort of more of an all-in-one package. So what this does is this has an ATX power input here, which of course you can use with standard ATX power supply, or you can use one of those little, what they call them, Pico ATX or whatever they are. And then under here you've got the connector here for the SE30 board. You can just stick it, wrong way around, upside down, Miss Jane. Okay, like that. Not with this one, because this one's not finished yet. This wouldn't work at all. This is crazy. And then you can then get an RGB output. If my understanding is correct, and hopefully Will is in the chat there, if my understanding is correct, what we then get out of the, what do you call this thing? Mr. Squiggle. Yes, well done, Paul. Hurry up, hurry up. Yeah, okay, so this was what I was talking about before. The idea of 3D printing something like this, a button like that, you can recreate this bottom part here in filament, and then you can get the precision shape of something like this top button, do that in resin, and then glue the two together. That's the sort of thing that I plan to be doing with the resin printing. So yes, mini HDMI there. So we've got two USB, micro USB there, and then we've got the this thing, mini HDMI there. Now, so I have got on this is an SD card, and on this it contains all of the software. This is a Raspberry Pi Zero here, by the way. So this is a Raspberry Pi Zero. I've got here all of the software for the RGB to HDMI project with GitHub. I can't remember the name of the guy who did it. We'll probably know. And that's software that allows you to actually configure this Raspberry Pi Zero so that it will take a signal and then it will spit out a nice, clear, sharp RGB image into HDMI. So you can then connect it to an HDMI compatible monitor. So I have put all of that software onto this SD card. That's all. It all lives on here. It's all been copied on there. It's formatted as exFAT with master boot record, and it and yeah, that's all good to go. So what I'm going to do now, okay, you might think, well, what's why? Why does this exist? What is it for? Well, the simple solution for replacing the analog board. When you have a look at a compact Mac, the analog board is this great big bulky thing that hangs on the side there. It has high voltage and is scary, and connects to the CRT. Now, of course, the purists of us, we have computers like that. I have plenty of them, and I will, of course, be maintaining and repairing and restoring those sorts of computers because I like them. When I sit down in front of that 9-inch black and white screen CRT, I get all nostalgic, and I just absolutely love it. Sit there and play a game of shufflepuck, and I'm as happy as a pig in shit. But if you're wanting to do something like replace that CRT with a liquid crystal display, a more modern liquid crystal display, you have to find some way of getting that signal out. And then at the same time, you've also got now if you're using a liquid crystal display, you've got this analog board with a flyback transformer and all this stuff for, sending an image to a CRT that's not needed anymore. So what this does is this allows you to completely and totally, this replaces the analog board. This and a power supply replace the analog board entirely. And then you can just connect the screen to it. Now, the project that I have in mind for this is once I have completed this board, it's not complete yet, but when it is complete, it is my plan that this will become part of a custom build I have in mind. I already have in mind what it is going to look like. It's going to be very Apple-y. as in it's going to be very much the Apple design aesthetic. But I do plan a custom build using this with the board, and there's going to be a video on that. It's at the moment it's still just ideas, but there is going to be a video coming out on that when it's a reality. So that's what something like this is for. Now, this can be configured. It has a menu where you can set up, and you can load in a profile for the device you're going to be connecting it to, because obviously different computers have different video output, and it's got a whole bunch of profiles in there. There's I think the guy who made it did it for a BBC Micro or something like that. I can't remember the exact details, but again, I'm sure Will will know. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, Will, but what I plan to do is I'm not connecting this to an SE at this stage. I don't believe I need to do that in order for it to fire up. I'm going to connect it to a power supply. I'm going to connect it to a display, and then in theory I should be able to then bring up a menu onto that display. Does that all sound correct? Is that kind of where I am? So if I were to just get this monitor here with my little mini HDMI here, and plug this in like that, and then get a power supply, what I have here, and plug that in there, I should be able to get something coming out to the screen. Is that correct? Or do I actually have to have an SE30 connected to it first? Would you say it is advisable for me to have an SE30 connected to it first? Because I have one here. I can just grab this one. I believe this one is all working. So, that way around? Yep. Okay. So, got that connected. And then I will get this power supply. Now, this is a big, bulky ATX power supply. I mean, I'm not going to be using this for my final project. It would just be an absolute waste of power supply. But this power supply is going to have to sit on my lap because there's nowhere else to put it. It's a lap power supply. This is one of these power supplies that I think it needs to detect power being used before it'll switch on. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to switch this on now. And okay, it's fired up. Now I've got a little light here that says power good. Now, what should happen next? As I say, I've got this monitor connected. Let me switch it on. That's switched on HDMI. And yes, it should work on a regular SE because I think they have the same output. So, right, so that's fine. So the LED on the board is good. There's nothing else, no other LEDs coming on. Now, I'm not getting any signal to that, but I haven't configured anything yet. So, yeah. And that. I don't know if this is anything's going on with this. I mean, this should be working, shouldn't it? Technically, we wouldn't know. I mean, I should connect a speaker to it, which would have theoretically heard it chime. I would have thought. Would that sound right? Let me get my manky speaker from here, and we can try this again. Reset the power. Reset the powers. The LED of the RGB. Reset the power. The LED of the RGB to HDMI should have blinked. So that's over here. One of these two. This is the D1 and D2. So if I press the restart, it should blink. It did not. It did not blink. I think probably one of the first things I should do is check and see we're getting all of our voltages here. I know yours says it's power good, but is that checking all voltages there? It might be, but okay, we've got DC here. Where are we? Ground. There's ground. Ground. Minus 12. Plus 12. Minus 4.3-ish. Plus 5. Okay, so that's a good sign. We've definitely got power there. Hello, Steve. Oh, Rudy's here as well. Hello, Rudy. One closer to the Pi will blink. Turn off ATX and back on again. Okay. Turn off. And back on again. I don't see any blinking at all. So let me just, I want to connect the speaker here. Where the bloody hell does that go again? It's underneath this, isn't it? There it is. Just because I'd just be interested to know if we're actually hearing this SE30 power on. I might need to get my cable because it's not going to... Oh, look, you got a little hole for it. Have a go at you and your things and your thoughts and stuff. These smart people around. This is my special speaker, this one. This is special. Do you know why it's special? Because it got eaten by something. See? Eaten by something. Still makes noise, but, you know. Okay, so I'm going to switch it on. Okay, so we know the SE30 is charming. Veronica, hello there. A Pi and a little monitor and an SE30. You do indeed. It's a strange mix, isn't it? They don't really feel like they go together, do they? So, yeah, now, I will just say, can I say, this wasn't anything in my residence eating that. This is in one of those barn find Macs that I did. I don't know if anyone saw that series of barn find Macs that I did. And that was in one of those LCs that I brought back. Okay, so, be sure monitor is on. Well, it's off at the moment, but it comes on automatically when it gets a signal. But we definitely didn't get any blink from these lights. You were saying that they should blink, and there's no blink. So, when I press the reset button, there's no blink. There's nothing at all coming from these LEDs, these two LEDs here. They're completely blank. Even when I switch the power supply off and on, that's it. But yeah, the monitor is working. It comes on, it says HDMI, and then after a second it says no signal, and then it switches off again. Do you feel like there might be a problem with the Pi? Okay. That's telling you that Pi is not coming in. Okay. I have got a Pi Zero floating around. If you would like me to swap out and try a different one, just let me know. If you suspect that it might be the Pi causing a problem, please let me know and I will do that. Alternatively, if you would like me to get the card, thinking of software on the card. Okay. If you would like me to inspect the card, get the card under the microscope, have a look, see if there's any, because I think this would have been hand soldered, so just in case there's any issue there. But pull micro SD card. Why? Yeah. So if you put USB to the Pi, wouldn't that power the Pi? Yeah, but I did hear from the guy who made this. I watched one of his videos. Now, this might be different now, but he did say that if you are powering the Pi from his RGB to HDMI thingy, which I believe is integrated into this board, he said don't power the Pi from the USB port. Now, that might have been something that's been fixed up, but I know in one of his early videos that was something he did actually say, don't use two power supplies at once. He sort of said, I don't know what will happen, but I do think he mentioned something about magic smoke. So, yeah, it gets it from the board. That's what I suspected. So, I mean, is there anywhere I can check on the Pi for voltage? I mean, I suppose some of these pins are voltage, aren't they? I can't remember which ones are which, but it's up that end or that end. You could always just stick probes and just see what happens. Like there to there. Okay, I'm running the other way. Yeah, I'm getting voltage on the Pi. I mean, that wasn't just some sort of arbitrary thing. That was, or am I? 1.8 volts. So, I mean, the power is getting to the Pi. There's no doubt about that. SD card could be. It's a brand spanking new SD card, brand spanking new SanDisk SD card, and it is FAT32. It is absolutely formatted as FAT32. I brought down a little card reader here so that I can have a look at that, but it is 100% formatted as FAT32. I formatted it on a Mac. Do I need to format it on a Windows machine? And I should actually mention that I have actually gone through this process before without Will and not on camera. And this is one of the reasons why I did want to do this on camera, to actually get any assistance from Will if needed. And I did actually get a second SD card. So I actually have, is it this one? Is this the broken one? Oh, that's the broken one. Yeah, that's the broken one. So the software is on this SD card as well. Another SanDisk. Got exactly the same with this one, so change that. Format and a Windows PC for FAT32. Now, I should just mention that all of the SD cards that I format for things like the Blue SCSI and that are FAT32, I format all of those on Mac, not on Windows, as FAT32. So I am familiar with formatting things as FAT32 because that is what's required for the Blue SCSI. So, but is there actually an image written to the SD card? Well, it's not. They're not images with this. It's a great big pile of software. So yeah, it's not actually a disk image like a Blue SCSI. It's like this great big, there's, I don't know, 100 files or something like that. I have the content. Yeah. Look, how about I switch this off and I'll show you what's on the SD card. How about that? Because I brought a card reader here, so we can do that, I think. Here we go. Boop, 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 boop. Boop. Boop, boop, boop. I need to find a spare USB port. That is always the challenge. Oh, I see one. Must be my lucky day. There we go. It's plugged in. Oh, excuse me. I don't mind being the guinea pig for this sort of stuff. It's, it's good. It's good to be part of these sorts of projects. I'm such a fan of the people out there that are doing this sort of stuff and creating these projects, and basically making the vintage computer world so much better for all of us. So this is the very latest I downloaded from the GitHub. There we go. Okay, let me just share my screen. Bear with me just a moment. Right. So if we go here to screen, so yeah, you can see that's my screen there. This is the SD card here, RGB to HDMI. If I do a get info on that, you'll see that it is formatted as exFAT. exFAT there, so I'm not lying. And then the contents are, as you see it here. This is all the stuff that was downloaded from that GitHub. I don't know if the disk needs to be called something else. I just named it RGB to HDMI because I thought that's a cool name. Yeah. Hang on. It is exFAT. Oh, okay, so it was meant to be FAT32. Hang on. How do I do FAT32? I'll format it now. Disk utility. There we go here. RGB to HDMI. I have an option for erase. I have MS-DOS FAT or exFAT. That's what I've got the option for. exFAT or MS-DOS FAT. They're the two options I have here. Are neither of those the option that I need? Do I need to go and format this? I have to do it on Windows. Oh, poops. Poops. All right. Will MS-DOS FAT work? If MS-DOS FAT works, then we'll give that a try. Doesn't MS-DOS FAT have file name? Well, we'll give it a try, eh? Well, there's no harm in trying this. This is something I can do very, very quickly. So let's go to DOS FAT, erase, and then I just need to download it because I haven't downloaded it from here. Boop, 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 boop. Look, that's my live stream. That's City Morning Herald. Yeah, let me switch the screen off just for a minute. You don't really need to see me downloading stuff. So that was... Okay, we're doing MS-DOS FAT. That's what we're doing. And so I just need to download this. I just need to find this link again. The link is on your website. Feel free to chuck in a link of this. Are you a mod? I can't remember if you're a mod. I'll have to have a look in a sec. So we're going to this GitHub. This is Hoglet67. Love these names. And then good old GitHub, the way it works, where you scroll down, it's really hard to actually find where the file is. Okay. It's downloading now. That was quick. And then downloads. Oh, where did I get to with the formatting? Okay, it's done. And then we go here to that one. Come on. There we go. Desktop. Downloads. There it is. Downloads. And RGB to HDMI. I do apologise. When you did say FAT32, that's exactly what you said. I heard XFAT. XFAT went into my brain instead of FAT32, and so that is entirely my fault. That is PEBCAC all the way. And so my apologies for actually making that more complicated than it needed to be. I am not a Windows person, so, you know. I do have Windows emulator on my Mac in the house, where I can go in and it will do the job if needed. But we're nearly finished copying, by the way. I'm just watching it at the moment. The little progressy thing turning around, and then there we go. That is done. All right, so let's have another crack at this, shall we? This should be a little bit more interesting. We're expecting great things. Okay, let's go to the top view again, and this is going to be so much better than the last time. You watch. Let's see. Let me just grab the card. Excuse me. And that needs to go in that way, I think. There we go, nice and snug. All right, let's pop that out of the way. I might just zoom out a little bit here, because I was zoomed in before because I was just looking at the card, but now we've got other things to look at. Okay, zippity zap. Now let's get this power supply plugged in again. And let's see what happens this time. R3, R2, R7. Oh, I got a light on this time. Look at that. Oh, look at this. All right, so now at this stage, I'm supposed to go select. Is that correct? We'll wait till it's doing a few things here. So select. Oh, it's trying to do something here. Okay, cool. No sync detected. Okay, so I press the select button now. Is that right? All right, here we go. Look at this. How cool is this? And I have to go to... It's not create a customer. There's a profile that I load, isn't there? So select profile. Look at that right down the bottom. I can go the other way. I was right there. Select profile. Select. And then I can go down here to Apple. Here we go. Select. And then SE30. And now someone did ask this, and I answered this, what I thought would be the correct answer. But if you wouldn't mind confirming for me, Will, that this profile would work on an SE as well. Is that correct? Oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay, so do I need to do anything else at this stage, or is that, you know, it works on SE, that's good. Now, and another question for you, Will. Should you release one of these with these pins moved around a little bit, could you technically make a Classic and Classic 2 version of these? And I imagine it would probably use the same profile as an SE. It would just be these pinouts would be different. Do you think that would be technically possible? Okay. All right. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's a lovely, lovely picture. Let me just go here to the menu. There we go. Where are menu? Menu. There we go. And I'm just going to go to what is it? There's a there used to be reset. No, display ratio auto. No. 720p. This it used to have an automatic thing. Oh, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm thinking of another monitor. But anyhow, that's there. That's absolutely fantastic. So we're now getting the video output. We have Classics 128K, 512K. Oh, that's wonderful. Not sure what this box is. That's my box. Don't worry about the box. That's this is the monitor that I use for when I'm doing YouTube videos. I have this monitor pointing at me so I can look at what I'm actually filming. And so this box is kind of just like a safe area type box. So try and keep things inside that area. So that's the monitor actually putting this on, because this monitor is actually specifically designed for you know, sort of for using as a video camera monitor type thing. So it has this, where is it? Here we go. This screen markers or whatever, something like that display. I don't know. It's good. It's got some things. It's got some cool things. So don't worry about the box. Disregard the box. The box can be ignored. When I connect this to a normal model, that'll be fine. Look, this is wonderful. I am actually going to have a really good old play around with this. This is going to be a really fun thing to have. So, you know, if you want to just pop links in there if you haven't already, and feel free in the documentation to say, don't be an idiot like Bruce and Brankus and format it as exFAT. If you're using a Macintosh, format it just as MS-DOS FAT and work to treat. But that is, you know, such a nifty little tool. So you've basically, what you've done is you've gone in and you've created this custom board which works with the power supply type thing. And then you've integrated this RGB to HDMI, which is also available as its own individual project. And you've incorporated that into this all-in-one board. So you can just plonk this on here, supply power to the computer, and get your HDMI output. So, you know, I am just absolutely buzzed with this. And as I say, this is going to be part of a project that I'll be doing sort of later on, where I will be making a custom computer SE30 powered, custom SE30 powered computer. And it's going to be in a case designed by me, which is yet to be designed. But I have the spawn of an idea in my head of how it's going to look, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I do have to get myself one of those little Pico power supplies though, because I'm certainly not going to build a case for this ridiculously large ATX power supply that I have here. Because it's, you know, it's just one of those pieces. It's a big one. It's a 650 watt one. Don't think we need that for an SE30. Right. Okay. So, well, that's that. I'm really pleased about that. You've got the links here, so Will's put the links in there. So yeah. Okay. So just to explain, Veronica, because you missed this. I mean, basically, what we're looking at here is we're looking at a way of powering a compact Mac without the need for the analog board. So you can essentially take the logic board out of a compact Mac. You can power it up and get a video output from it without the need for the CRT, the analog board. And I can see this becoming, I mean, this is something that Steve did. He didn't do it with this product. He did it with some other products. But Steve from Mac 84 created an SE30 where he's actually got a color display card in there as well. And he's using that to then power a little color liquid crystal screen. So he's essentially got an SE30. It's powered by the original SE30 board, but inside the case is a little color liquid crystal display, which of course I think it's lovely. It's beautiful to be able to do that using a vintage processor direct slot color board. So that, yeah, but yeah, I can really see this. Wouldn't that be good if you could actually find some way of making this display color? I mean, you know, you're not going to be able to do it just from connecting to this port, but wouldn't that be cool if you could, if that was something that could be added in the future? But anyhow, right, so that's great. That's a fantastic thing. I'm really, really happy with that, and I'm really looking forward to the project that I have in mind for this one. So that's going to be good fun. So I'm just going to disconnect this now, and how'd you come? There we go. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, this isn't actually my SE30 board. This is a customer's, but I'm sure they won't mind me using it to demonstrate that. Demonstrate the awesomeness. Raspberry Pi is just the most fantastic thing. It just amazes me the sort of level of computing power that you can get in such a tiny, weeny little thing like that. Yeah, it's extraordinary. I need to find a Ziploc bag. Oh no, this one's fine. That's fine. I don't need a Ziploc bag for that. And by the way, really, really cool thinking ahead there for that little hole for the speaker cable too. I'm very impressed with that. So now it's time to do some other SE30 stuff, and this is going to be a little bit more the regular sort of stuff that I do with SE30s. It's going to be recapping it. So my apologies for anyone who is thinking it's going to be like way exciting stuff. One thing I will just quickly demonstrate before I do that. As I mentioned before, I'm making these custom floppy eject gears like this. I can show these under the microscope a little bit later on. And these are for putting into the eject motor of the auto-inject floppy drives. Now this is a bad example, this one, because this one is actually a Sanois. Now, you may not even realize that part of these drives, or some of these drives, have an Omron motor, and some of them have a Sanois. And a Sanois uses a slightly different size gear. So it's a slightly smaller gear, like that one there that goes into the Sanois. I have made those as well, but the majority of these motors are the Omron, which I'm just going to quickly show here now. So this is an Omron here. You can't tell that because the sticker's come off, but this is an Omron. I'm just going to move this across a little bit. It feels a little bit too far away there. Yeah, that's better. I am going to grab myself a right-handed screwdriver. If I can find... Ah, there it is. Okay, so... Now this one has already had the cog replaced, okay? But I just wanted to demonstrate a couple of things with this here. So out this comes. There we go. So what happens is it's very heavily geared, so the motor spins really, really fast, and then it goes through three separate gears, or is it three or four separate gears, to then turn this quite slowly but quite powerfully. It has quite a lot of torque behind it by the time it gets to this gear, and then what that does is that pulls this down to eject the drive. So down, get down. There we go, down. Oh, this is one sticky drive. So yeah, this one won't work particularly well without a resto. This one is really, really stuffed. But anyhow, it pulls that along, and then it you know, that little like cam pulls that along, and it makes the drive eject. So inside here, when we take this little metal cover off, we've got zoomy zoom, focusy focus. Oh, I can't even zoom in that far. It's too far. Sorry, folks. There we go. That's as close as I can get with the focus. So we've got one gear here. So you've got the motor down there, then it goes to this gear, and from this gear to this gear, this gear to this gear, and this gear to this gear. And so that gives us the little turny stuff there. And here is one of my little floppy eject cogs in there. And as we know, these ones die. They die because they're made of a type of plastic that when it oxidizes over time, it gets very, very brittle. It goes like cheese, and that's why it has the name I give it, the cheese gear. And so that has to be replaced. So I went in and I redesigned it, as I mentioned earlier in the live stream. Oh, is it House of Moth here? Where? Can't see him. There he is. Hello, Jay. How are you today? Jay's been having a good time by the sounds of things. Now, one of the things that I hear people ask a lot of the time is, okay, well, you've made this replacement cog. Is it going to stand the test of time? Is it going to be strong enough? I mean, am I going to be having to replace it every couple of years? So what I did was I have rigged up this little guy here. There's a floppy drive with one of my cogs in there. And I have it set up to do this. And I run it at 5 minutes, so that the motor doesn't overheat. I run it for 5 minutes, and then I let it cool down, and then I run it for another 5 minutes and let it cool down. So far, I have run a simulation of around about, I think, 1,200 ejects. Something like that, thereabouts, about 1,200 ejects. And let's go and see what the condition of the cog is like now. This drive has actually got a lot of surface rust, surface corrosion. So that's not actually just dirt, that's actually like rusted metal. The way this Mac was stored, it's just how it is. This is one I got from someone relatively recently. It had been stored in a shed or garage or something like that. And yeah, it has got a lot of this surface corrosion. I've cleaned a lot of it off on the areas where there's friction, where there are things rubbing against each other, so that, that it's not going to get in the way of that. But, I mean, really, this probably needs a complete dismantle and sandblasting and all that sort of stuff. But I ain't doing that. That ain't happening. I am going to recap. Just calm down. Okay, so this cog has had about 1,200 ejects so far, and it is still in mint condition. I'm not talking about Rutke Mods mint. Let me just change the scope view here. There we go. So you can see all of those gears are all still nice and pointy. We haven't got any significant wear. Oh, I'm upside down. I know why that happened. It's because the camera was upside down. Let me just fix that. Let me go to, what is it? I've got to right click, don't I? Right click. Transform? No. Do. No. Sorry. This, maybe properties? No. Right click. Filters, perhaps? Nope. There is a way. How do I do this? I probably need to unlock it. There we go. Transform. There we go. Flip vertical. I think, is it? No, rotate 180 degrees. Yeah, that's better. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Just I can't do this upside down. It's just too hard. So yeah, that's it there. Now they look a little bit blobby on top, and they are blobby on top because that's just what the nature of resin printing. If you're printing flat surfaces, you'll get blobbies on one side but not on the other. And it's the same with normal 3D printing. And if you print something in midair, you're printing a flat surface in midair. You'll get, if you're printing with filament, you'll end up getting little strings, and if you're printing with resin, you'll end up getting blobbiness. But the precision isn't actually needed on this surface or this surface. You want the precision on the bottom. So you've got this little thing here that holds the cog up a little bit and reduces the amount of surface area that's touching the bottom of the plastic there, and you need the precision in the cogs. And so, as you can see, it is all still perfectly good after 1,200 ejects. So I'm going to run more because I want to be able to say to people, yes, this is a cog you can rely on. Yeah. So that's enough of that. Now we're going to do some recapping. But I just thought I would mention that to everyone. Let them know that I'm doing all the special research and things. All right. Let's get back to top view. Not as many Lickit comments in Bruce's stream. No. The Lickit doesn't seem to be... Everyone wants people to lick things, don't they? What was the thing that... I think Steve... They were trying to get you to lick something recently, weren't they? I think. You were working on... Steve was working on oh, crap. What were you working on? You were working on a... 2CX. 2CX, that's right. And then a display card. And everyone wanted Steve to lick it. So, alrighty. Let's put this back together again. Then we can put floppy drives out of our mind and start thinking about SE30s. Now, this particular SE30 was stored in... the floppy drive came from this unit. So you're going to see a bit of, corrosion and stuff on this. But the caps were taken off. I knew I wouldn't get onto this for a while. So I took the caps off to make sure that I wasn't getting any, gunk. Sort of leaking out of them, not getting any worse. But as you can see, we've got quite a lot of dust along here. I'll give this one a rinse before I ultrasonically clean it. Now, what I can tell you about this particular model, it is one of the earlier ones. It's one that has the socketed CPU. Socketed. Just gonna play with focus here a bit. There we go. Incognito. Hey, why? Now, another really interesting thing about this one, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little wire snaking along here. And it goes from, comes out of the board here, runs along there, and then it connects to this pin here, this chip right there, third pin along there. And it's a little bodge wire, and they came out of the factory like that. It was obviously resolving an issue with the earlier revision of this board. Later on, that would be gone. They managed to obviously alter the board, but there was a quantity of these, there was a run of these, where they ended up having to put this bodge wire in place, which is kind of funny. You can see some of the surface rust going on here. Probably here it's a little bit more in focus, and that's just indicative of the way this thing has been stored. What we've got to do now is we've got to get all these pads clean, ready for new components to go on them, and that's what I'm going to do now. So at this point, I will jump across to my scope, and we'll get you guys in focus. I'll just have to lower this a tiny bit. Okay, you guys are in focus, and then I get myself in focus to your focus. There we go. Focus. All right, and then we get the soldering iron. Use that for the first time today. Gosh, I haven't actually done a recapping stream in ages. Always need to take that opportunity to mention my good friends at Styri, who make the flux that I use. I'm going to be using Styri ASM flux today. It is my favourite flux. It is one of these fluxes which I think is a brilliant performer, but it is also a flux that has some nasty fumes, so fume extraction is essential if you're going to be using this flux. But it's really good. It has great lasting power staying on the board, and so Styri flux, links in the description and a discount code. My good friends at Styri are sending me a few new samples for me to try it. I'll be doing a video on that. Retro Techie, hello there. And they are sending me a new product to test out. So I will be one of the first people outside of the Styri factory to give it a try. So it will be coming to me hopefully in the next week or something. and it is the next big thing from them. It is apparently a flux that is much, much more chemical friendly, as in not as toxic to use, but has the sort of same staying power on the board as some of these other fluxes where you don't need to reapply it as often. So that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to trying that out. So love the Vevor 30 litre ultrasonic cleaner. I can understand that, Rudy. I love mine as well. They're absolutely fantastic things to have. Yeah, I'm very, very pleased that you're pleased. All right, so I'm going to get some flux onto here. Cleaning is pretty much the same process, you know, each time is just getting some flux on there, getting some fresh solder, heating up these pads, getting it all melting. They're actually coming up really well, these ones. Getting rid of all the gunk. We want to end up with pads that are completely and totally shiny and rectangular. So I'll do that, and then I'll get my solder braid or solder wick. This is essential stuff for this kind of work. Don't want to take this on without it, because it works kind of as almost like a bit of sandpaper on with these. You can just give them a wipe, get all the gunk off, get the old solder off, get them looking sparkly clean. Excuse me. That must have sounded loud through the microphone. Sorry, folks. That one just snuck up on me. Oh, thank you for that, TJ Miller, for the affiliate link message. I have... this is one of the problems with Amazon affiliate links. You know, you go, okay, yeah, this one, and then, you know, store might stop. And if people don't tell me, I don't realise. So I do appreciate that. Let me sort that out. Try and find somewhere else. Might be better off just using a link that does a search term for Branson EC on Amazon. Okay, Francois, needs his sleep. Good night, Francois. Thank you for joining. Always appreciate you joining. Francois is another one of these people that's got one of those huge brains. You know those people with the huge brains? Alright, so those ones are looking pretty good, and there really isn't much in the way of ugly traces there. I'd be quite content to just drop new caps on there. It's good. It's good. I like it. It's good. It's very good. Okay, then we'll do this one here. This is the danger area. We know about this. You know, Steve was, I think, working on an SE30 just recently where there was a bit of ugliness along here. And that happens from the leaky caps up here. Click. Always looking for a cheaper alternative to Branson EC. Yeah, I have never tried it. It's not sold out here, and you can't buy it from the US because of its chemicals. None of the places will actually ship it. I imagine you probably need someone to bring them in. I don't know, on a shipping container or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, every place I've ever seen that sells it, they don't ship it to Australia. I'd just be curious to try it, but I actually use a product from an Australian provider. They're in Queensland, which is up that way. Well, I'm just watching my... That's weird. Some weird stuff going on what I'm looking at there, but that doesn't matter. YouTube is weird from time to time. So yeah, this is a company in Queensland. They sell great big ultrasonic cleaners, and they sell ultrasonic cleaner fluid. Unfortunately, it is very expensive, but I don't go through too much of it, so it's sort of just a cost to the hobby, really. That's how I look at it. Let me just refresh this page here, because there's this weird stuff going on. It's like it's stuck in a loop. There we go. All right. So what did I? Where did I got? Yeah, they're looking pretty good. They're looking good. Oh, motion at the door. Let's move on to these three over here. I'll do these around that way. Looks like I melted this a little bit. Yeah, look at that. I melted it a little bit. I'm normally much more careful than that. I must have done this in a rush. What a silly person. So I've got an issue with this SE30. So this SE30 was brought to me by someone a while ago. I've done some work on it, so it's not like it's just been dormant. And they want to kind of restore it back to full working condition. And it does appear like the analog board might have some problems. Look at that. That looks out there. Clean that lot up. And yeah, the analog board, I think there might be a chip going on it, which is giving me issues with the image. The top half of the image looks okay, and then the bottom half is all kind of squished up. And if you have a look at the old, what's his name, Larry Pina, Dead Max Scrolls, that sort of stuff, he does point that particular issue to a particular IC. I don't know if those ICs are readily available anymore, but I'll have to have a look. And the first thing I'll do is I'll swap it around from another computer I have, because I'm not going to go and replace it. I'm not going to go try and find a new one if I don't know for certain that that's what the cause is. Because there are so many other things with a computer of this age that it could be. It could be something else along that circuit. Distilled water and vinegar, then a rinse with 99% alcohol. Works great. Cool. Good. Yeah, I bought... I bought my... excuse me. Old man noises. I bought my last batch of isopropyl alcohol from a company here in Australia, or here in Sydney, called Sydney Solvents. And they're great. I bought 20 litres. I don't know what that is in gallons, but it's a pretty big drum. And it's a big drum with a tap on the bottom. So I then just fill up 5 litre bottles from it. So when this one empties, I then just fill it up from the 20. But you go through a lot of isopropyl alcohol with this resin printing that I'm doing at the moment. There's actually a print right there that I need to take off and stick in the washer. But you do a lot of washing in isopropyl alcohol with resin printing. It's a very messy form of printing, really messy. But very precise, amazing results. Dazzles me. I printed a xenomorph, for any Alien fans out there. I printed a xenomorph in 3D in a clear resin, and it just came out almost looking like glass. It was amazing. It looks fantastic. There's a little bit of a black spot there on the trace. I didn't think it was actually a break, but I still like to clean it up. And then I'll just coat that with a bit of solder, as they say. So even though there was some real ugliness around here, it's actually cleaned up all right. But I do want to hit this with a cotton bud. There was another fluid out here that someone was using called Ambersil, Ambersil, and it was awful. It was really bad. I couldn't believe the amount of erosion it caused on stuff I was cleaning. It probably worked really well if you're wanting to do really harsh, coarse cleaning of something, something with a bit of rust on it or something like that. But in terms of the electronics, it was awful. So never using that again. No, sir. That came as a recommendation, which I just found bizarre. As I would not recommend it to no one. That's double negative. Okay. I'm really curious. I've got this thing behind me which cures 3D prints. And I'd be very curious to see how it goes with curing solder mask as well. So I have 2 FDM printers and a resin printer. Actually, technically I've got 4 FDM printers, but I only use 2. One of them is a Creality K1 Core XY, and the other one is a Creality Ender 3v3 Plus, which is a Core XZ printer, and they are just awesome. I love them, and of course they're clipper driven, so you've got fluid or mainsail that you can use to get a web view of what's going on. Absolutely adore them. The K1 is just crazy fast, and that's so good when you're doing prototyping of stuff, because you know sit there and wait all day. You can just get stuff printing so much quicker. Okay, have to get these surfaces really, really clean when we're going to use some UV mask. Oh, it's not on. If it's not on, it's not on. There we go. Right, what am I looking for? This thing, and I need a paintbrush. Ah, there's a paintbrush. I'm so organised, they're actually where they're supposed to be for once. It's an indication I haven't used them in a while. Looks good. So neat and tidy. I'm really, now that I've started doing this stuff with the filament printing, I'm really feeling like I kind of want to get on to, I'm nearly out of tissues. I'm feeling like I want to get on to painting things, you know, getting some model paints and stuff like that, and painting little models. Which one looks bad? Which one do you have concerns about? Well, this one's a little bit ugly. This one, I mean, it's all still intact. This one's a bit ugly. All right, I need to connect up my little laser. Pew pew pew, and cure this UV solder mask. I do have a UV light up here that I can use, but the laser is so much quicker. 3 volts. I think it was 3.5 volts. 3.5. Something like that. Laser. Now this is a laser that you can actually get down to a fine enough point that it will burn things. Sharks with lasers. Find some micro paintbrushes that were stiffer. I'll tell you a good way of making them stiff. You sort of stick them in some glue and then leave them to dry. Then they go stiff. I'll buy the axial cap. Got a lot of fluff here, I tell you. Yeah, there's nothing there that looks terribly untoward. Right there, coming off glue. Glue. Oh, I see it. These two here. That one there. And that one there. Yeah, they're a little nasty. I'll give them a tidy. For sure. Going to do some tests after this live stream. Put some of this UV mask on, stick it in the UV curing machine for the 3D printer and see if it comes out cured, see if it uses the same UV wavelength. There we go, I think we're pretty much solid now. Sometimes giving a little bit of heat can help. Grit. So that's just there so that when I put the cap on it, I'm going to be putting a tantalum. I'm going to put a tantalum cap on there, and the pins of the tantalum cap are wider than the pads of the electrolytics, and so I just like to have the traces that are near the pads to be coated so that I don't create any accidental shorts or pants. This one's pretty ugly. Look at that. Look at the green. Green means corroded copper. Okay. Ugly. Ugly. All Vulcan blood. This is true. This is true. Nice, nice. Right side of the plus. Right side of the plus. Right side of the plus. Oh, I'm going to coat all these and then I'm going to clean it up and then have another look. Have another fresh look. Right, looking good. I'm going to need some more cotton buds. Running out. Got ourselves a nice little solder ball here. Okay, mean ghoul asparagus groupie wolfie. Are you okay if I just call you ghoul? I am using a flux, a tacky flux, liquid flux, and it is made by a company called Styri. And this is it here. Styri ASM. I'm sorry about the label. This is well used. I've got a clean one here. Yeah, here's a nice clean one. Styri ASM TF Tacky Flux. Links in the description and a discount code. This is the one that I use. I did a video where I reviewed a bunch of the different types of fluxes this company make. This is the one that I prefer. It's my favourite in terms of price and that. But it is one that has some nasties in it, so you want to make sure you have good fume extraction if you're going to be using it. Wolfie. Okay, Wolfie it is. You ever get the board from the lady I sent your way? This might be the one. I'm not sure. This could be the one. I'm pretty sure this is the one. She sent me the whole computer, the whole SE30. And I basically said to her, I looked at it and I said, look, here's what I can do. And she pretty much just said, give it the works. So, sweet. You got it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one because the thing is that so I did the video a while ago of sample 88, which is now basically known as the V3 flux, and it's a very good flux. And of course, one of the really good things about it is that its fumes aren't as nasty as some of these other ones. So while it's always advisable to use fume extraction or some sort of respiratory protection when you're dealing with anything that's going to get smoky, the V3 flux is a little bit more friendly, lung friendly. That's really not the way to say it, but anyhow, you know what I mean. But that particular flux, the only issue I have with it is that it does tend to kind of burn away from the board quite quickly, so you have to put more on. And they say that in this new formula they've got that sorted. So it is a great thing to have these people, innovating. They're not just sitting there saying, hey, yeah, keep buying our fluxes. Oh, I've got to change back to scope view, sorry. They're not just there going, buy our fluxes, they're never changing like some other company. They're actually going in and coming up with better products. There was one that I have, I've got it over there. There was one that I just loved. There were two actually that I really loved. There was a Hydra one, and there was an LED flux. I just really enjoyed using them. Yeah, so the one that I'm getting my hands on very soon is referred to at this moment as Sample 99. But I will, of course, do a video on it. It is my duty to keep it informed. Did anyone here watch my recent review video for the multimeter? Did it compel anyone to feel like buying one? Or are they like, no, I've already got a multimeter? Because just so you know, everyone needs lots of multimeters. I bought a multimeter just the other day because I like the look of it. I'll show it. Show it to you. It's so cute. Ow. Look at it. Isn't it cute? Such a cute little multimeter. I've already dirtied it. Never mind. I'll go into a bit of continuity here. Do a little bit of Tippity tappity. Isn't it just the cutest little multimeter? And how small does it look in my great big fat sausage hand? I like it. So it does microamps, milliamps, volt AC, volt DC, resistance, continuity, and diode mode. It's cute. It's not the smallest multimeter I have. This is the smallest multimeter I have. It's my little Sanoir. This one's tiny, look at it. This is one that I keep inside the house. It's dirty. I should clean that. This is one that I had inside the house for odd jobs, where I take it with me if I think I might be going to need it, but I couldn't be bothered carrying a big one around. Actually made me buy a new one. Got that. They're good. Good. Fume Extractor, yeah, it's a good one. Wolfie is in the process of buying equipment to learn and dip my toes in. That is awesome. Watched it last night and fell asleep. Well, that's fine. I know. It's because my voice is so soothing, you see. I fall asleep during YouTube videos all the freaking time. But it's the worst thing because, you know, at the end of it, it then comes up and plays another video. So I go to sleep like, you know, I might be sitting there, I don't know, watching an action retro video or something like that. I get like 2/3 of the way through it and I fall asleep. And then I wake up, I'm watching some weird, bizarre suggestion that YouTube's given. It's like, what the hell is this shit? Okay, I just noticed the CPU is not pushed down. I just want to check that all the pins are... Good. Yep, don't see any problems there. Why isn't this going down? What's going on? Why is it sticking up and why isn't it going down? Why can't I make the CPU go down? How long has it been like this? Why am I asking you? Is it not in the right orientation or something? That's always possible. No, it's the right orientation. Can you see anything that might be stopping it? No? Oh well. I just don't want to break any of these pins because they're a real bugger when that happens. Oh well, it'll have to stay there for the moment. I've got 2 more to clean up and then I can stick some new caps on here. And that'll be a joyous day. Okay, sorry, I was just catching up on the chat there. That was why I just sort of suddenly went silent. Can't do 2 things at once. Well, I can, but I just do them very badly. Oh, thank you, Jay, for posting that. That's the little website that I have set up for the benefit of folks. Basically started with me wanting to post some high-res photos of Macintosh logic boards because there weren't many out there. I kept on searching for logic boards, pictures of them, And there were just really, really awful photos out there. And then I was like, oh, I want to start posting some nicer photos. So I started taking photos, and then I started turning them into recapping guides. Oh, that's a bit ugly, isn't it? The idea being that people would be able to take all the caps off and not have to remember where they go on, because they can just look it up. That's a horrible noise. Scrapey, scrapey noise. Managed to cut myself with my scalpel yesterday. I felt quite the wally, I can tell you. I was holding the blade too close. Like I was holding it right near the tip of the blade, and I actually ended up cutting just the end of my finger when I squeezed down and just cut it. These blades are really good at cutting skin because they're scalpels, and that's exactly what they're designed to do. I'm going to do that one after I've put all the goop, melted the goop. I have to say, having a fume extractor like this in the workshop has been a real game changer for me. I used to have a little one, and it's better than nothing. I really don't want to discourage people from having some form of fume extraction if they're doing this sort of stuff. But this thing here, it really does the trick, I'll tell you. Tells ya. DV Pierce 248. Hello, hi. I love your videos. 2SI PSU guide helped me revive my old machine when removing small actual caps from motherboards with wick and flux. Can never get all the solder out of the holes. Any tips? That is a question that I get asked a lot, and it is something where I have a particular process that I use. Sometimes it just works really quickly. Sometimes it works really slowly, and sometimes it doesn't work at all. There are a few things you can do. First of all, there are things called solder needles. They don't always work because the solder needles are actually quite... the thinnest one is sometimes not thin enough to get through the hole. But essentially what you can do with the solder needle, it is stainless steel. Stainless steel, solder will not stick to stainless steel. And so what you're able to do is you're able to heat up this solder needle, either with a soldering iron or with a hot air station, and then you can feed it through the hole, and you essentially just push that molten solder out of the way. Then you let it cool, and then you pull the needle out, and you're left with a hole. That's one way you can do it. That doesn't always work. It wouldn't work for these little tiny holes that you see here. These are way too small. But a hole like, say, this one here for this axial cap, a larger hole, which you can't see because it's all under fluff, but a hole like this, you'd be able to use a solder needle for that one there. That one would be big enough. So that's one way to do it. Solder needles you can find on like AliExpress. I have some here somewhere, which I can demonstrate. I'll actually do a demonstration for you. As soon as I get this one cleaned up, I'll do a quick demonstration because I do actually have somewhere I need to get some solder out of the hole. So I'll do that for you in a sec. And I'll just show you the tips that I use. Just got to clean these up because these were particularly nasty, these ones. As you can see, once I got that, there's no breaks in them, and once I got the mask off, I was able to get rid of all that corrosion and then coat them with a coating of solder, and that will protect them from the elements. There we go. Oh, ray gun. Good old ray gun. People know about ray gun. Do people watch any of the Olympics and know about the breaker called ray gun? I have a lot to say about that. And it's kind of not really her fault. I mean, apart from the fact that she did an absolutely comically ridiculous performance. The whole situation with breaking or breakdancing in the Olympics was a bit of a farce. So there was this organisation, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, something Dance Championships or Competition Dance Federation, something like, I can't remember the exact name. They were looking to get ballroom dancing into the Olympics. But it was really seen as kind of a bit too much of an old fuddy-duddy type sport. So they were thinking, they're not sure about ballroom dancing. So what they did is they essentially pitched the idea of making breakdancing an Olympic sport. So what they did was they set themselves up as like a global breakdancing authority, and set up a whole bunch of international competitions and all that sort of stuff. But they did it without any form of consultation with any existing breakdancing bodies around the world. Some of the best breakdancers in the world were not even part of it because they weren't part of this spin-off kind of organisation that they created. They just invented this. I mean, it'd be a bit like, I don't know, I'm just trying to think. Let's just say I suddenly decided to set up a world body on, ice hockey, and didn't involve anyone from Canada. You know what I mean? It's it was the organisation that were controlling all of the breakdancing had really nothing to do with breakdancing at all. They're a bloody ballroom dancing company. And they did professional ballroom dancing. And they're the judges as well. The people that were judging all this breakdancing are ballroom dancing judges. And so this person goes and wins the Pan-Pacific Championship, which means what? I mean, she's competing against other people that aren't even particularly good breakdancers. So anyhow, that's enough of that. Right, now this one is going to need solder mask on it because I have exposed so much of this trace. Mainly just around these pads. I can do the other stuff later on, but because I wouldn't mind cleaning this a little bit further, but I want to get these caps on sooner rather than later. Because we've all got things to do, don't we? Yeah. Starts getting late over there. It's my lunchtime. I start getting hungry, and then I'll start getting hangry. I watched a documentary last night on Gary, guy from Different Strokes. Documentary was called Gary. Coleman, that's the one, thank you. Thank you very much for that, Nick. Thank you, Quicksilver Oz. Thank you, Acetane 20, for the answer. That is the answer I was looking for. The old brain, not remembering things like that because I'm an old man. Why doesn't anyone wear hats anymore? Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting documentary. I mean, I felt like he got let down by a lot of people, but I also felt like he was someone who was kind of destined to have a rise and fall because he was so physically unique. No one's ever going to just turn around and sort of hire him for sort of like a straight role, you know, whatever. He apparently wanted to play the part of a baddie in something or something like that. He was just never going to get that sort of work. He was so typecast. And so, yeah, sure, he was very, very famous during the time of Different Strokes. But then essentially after that, the only thing people wanted him for was little guest spots where he would walk in and say, "What you talking about?" And that was pretty much it. I mean, he was in a few movies, but I mean, it wasn't exactly the best end of career. And he got married to this woman who was just revolting. What a narcissist. Excuse me. It was a well-made documentary. Maybe dragged on a little bit. I felt like the end went on for a bit too long. But I got to see lots of photos and videos and things from VCF Midwest. It sounded pretty good. It's a shame we don't have anything like that out here. Some of the things that people walk away with for very little money at those events, I always get very jealous. I mean, Steve walked away with a Macintosh 2CX that he got working during a live stream, and he paid $10 for it. Now, admittedly, he hadn't looked at the power supply at that stage, but that was the logic board. After recapping and a little bit of cleaning, I got that thing fired up. And I just look at that and think, 2CX for $10? Man, that is just unbelievable. Working or not working, you know. Start of VCF Australia. No. I have had my share of event organising in the past, and I can tell you it is not for me. I was involved in organising some car shows. 2000 and... I think like 2011, 12 and 13, something like that. And it's hard work. It is bloody hard work. Not for me. Not for me. Right. Okay, so I've got this all ready to stick the new caps on, but I'm not going to do that just yet. What I'm going to do is I am going to demonstrate the process of trying to clear holes, solder holes, when you're removing through-hole components. So we're going to snippety-snip this guy off. I generally snip these in two halves. Oh, it's a game of two halves. And then I get rid of the fluff. And then I get these pins out one at a time. And one of the ways that I can get these pins out a little bit easier is if I get some solder onto the tip of my iron, that solder can make better surface contact with that pin and get that pin hot. And once the pin is hot, I can then whip them out. Excuse me while I whip this out. People know where that's from? Oh, thank you very much, Falco. Actually, I saw a super chat come up before, and I didn't thank whoever it was. I've got to go back here. Mark Anning, thank you very much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Big thank you to you, thank you. And Falcor, thank you to you as well. I'll press the like button. I'm going to press the like button on it. Look, like. There we go. I liked it. And I'm going to go back and I'll like the other one as well. Isn't it rude of me? Oh, no, I can't like that one because it's a super sticker. But thank you for the super sticker. That's much appreciated. Thank you for doing what you do as I battle a dead LC575 board tonight that is probably toast. Your voice is keeping me distracted enough. Stop me from tossing the damn thing out the window. I don't know if you guys saw, it was in my last live stream or the live stream before, where I was working on an SE30 with battery damage. And just towards the end, I discovered this massive amount of corrosion on the pins of the ROM holder, and came to that realization that holder was going to have to be removed. I don't know. I think in that live stream you could actually just see the moment where I just get completely deflated and it's like, oh no. It's like, I was feeling pretty good about it up until that point. I'm going, yeah, I'm repairing traces, I'm doing my thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap. And then there was just that moment. Okay, so we want to get the solder out of these holes. Now, generally the first thing I'll do is, a little bit of flux never hurts. It helps the solder often, flow a lot better. So I will, I'll do that. I will then get some solder wick and I will put it on top and hold it down with this flat surface like that in the hope that it will heat through and suck up into the wick. Now it has done so in that instance. That was a nice easy one. That's what I'll generally do. Some of them are a little bit harder and I go through other steps, and I'll do that here, but I'll just do this one here. This one's being a bit more stubborn. Okay, that one's clear. Now, if I can't get the solder out, some of the things that I will do. First of all, I will try and fill up the hole again with some fresh solder. That's one of the things that I will often do. Try again with fresh solder on there, because that's often that fresh solder is going to flow better, and so adding that fresh solder in with some old solder will often help that help it flow a little bit better. Then the other thing I'll often do is, rather than hit it with a completely clean bit of wick, I'll have it with some solder wick that's already got a little bit of solder on it, because solder kind of likes hanging out with solder, and so sometimes that liquid in the liquid solder in the flux will actually help draw the solder out of the hole like that. Then if I get really stuck, I have a soldering iron like this. As you can see, it's a great big fat one, and I get this one and I put it down there, and that larger surface area of heat hitting the board often gets that solder melted all the way through to the other side of the board, and makes it flow out a lot easier. So they're the different steps that I will usually take, and then if I get really stuck, then we can use the solder needles that I described before. The places where it's hardest to get solder out of the hole is usually when it's on a ground plane or something like that. See, on this one here, on the other side, you'll find there's lots and lots and lots of copper. On the other side of this one, if I flip this over, you can see it here. See all this copper? Copper, 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 copper. Heaps of it. And that is actually pulling all the heat away. So once again, I'll go in and I will add some more solder. And that. And then I'm actually going to get my great big fat soldering iron here. It's a big fat one. Joe, hello there. Welcome to the live stream. I was just killing time until you got here. Yes, it was Blazing Saddles, so Haven't seen Blazing Saddles in a while. Yes, I have to confess I haven't either. And I don't think it would actually stand the test of time terribly well. I think we'd be like, oh my goodness. All right, so this one here, this one's being a little bit more stubborn getting the solder out. So I've gone and got my great big fat one here. And I'm going to just pop this on there. Get all that heat, huge heat. And we're pretty much through now. Yeah, I mean, you can see there's still some solder around the hole there. We'll go to the other side. Yeah, that's it there. And we'll get it from this side. Should be able to get the rest out. There we go. So that one's clear as a bell. Clean as a whistle. Let's get this one out. Okay, better change back to my not fat soldering iron thing. Actually, I need to buy a replacement one of these. I always keep a spare of these tips because I break them a lot. And I haven't replaced the last one since I broke it. Wrapping up at work and heading home. EO versus Oi. Oi, oi, oi. Yes, it's not exactly the most sophisticated of chants, but you can be fairly sure that if you're at a sporting event somewhere and there are Australians there and you say Aussie, 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 you will get a reply of oi, oi, oi. All right, let's stick some caps on this sucker. There we go. Now there's a 1 microfarad 50 volt. Let's get one of those little things. And the 1 microfarad 50 volt is the only one here that is a smaller capacitor right there. Whoopsie. And all the others are 47 microfarad 16. Oh, thank you for the super. Is that a super chat or super sticker? I think it's a super chat. Thank you, DVPS. Much appreciated for the super chat. I do appreciate it. Super chats are flying today. Tells you. Mm-hmm. 3D printed part. Carthor, you know, I hear you. So he said it's a nice feeling when you design and 3D printed a part and it fits with no problem. I can absolutely and totally relate to that, in particular when you get it first go. It doesn't happen that often, you know, when you're prototyping stuff, you'll often end up with maybe 1 or 2 times you have to print it until you get it spot on. But every now and again, you just model something and it's perfect the right time, and it's such a rewarding feeling. Oh, look at these traces. Fudgeroony. Missed those. These are actually really common traces to corrode. I see lots of SE30s with these exact traces, and there's often one that snakes up here as well. So it's actually really common for these to corrode, so I'm not at all surprised. I'm just surprised I didn't see it when I was cleaning them up before. I'm out of practice. Been doing too much other stuff on my YouTube channel, not enough of this sort of stuff. This trace here, this one that I'm scraping, the top, very top one here, this is just on that borderline before it actually ends up getting a break in it. That is not a break there. It looked like a break, but it's not a break. So I was about to start sticking a capacitor on, but I had to revert back to cleaning. So sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, that don't look so great. That don't look so great. I have gone through solder faster with this spool than I think I ever have before. I've obviously just been using a lot more solder for what I've been doing lately. I buy them in these quite large rolls, and they usually last me ages. This one here, it's getting pretty low. Must depart to satisfy the sudden urge to clean and rebuild a carburetor. Fair enough. Enjoy that. Nothing finer than cleaning and rebuilding a carburetor. Be careful though. There are lots of little parts there that are easy to damage. Little pin thingamafudge thing. But thank you for joining, Jay. May your carburetor bring you joy. We're trying to talk Jay into live streaming again. He used to do live stream and he used to repair boards and stuff like that. And then he just stopped. We were just trying to get him to do it again. He's just like, he's like, no. Nah. I was like, come on. He worked all this time to get his channel monetized and then he just sort of went off it. I was like, that's not good enough. Hopefully while he's rebuilding the carburetor, he'll still have my live stream on. So he can hear all the horrible things that I'm saying about him, but he just can't reply to them. I would never. I have a little sort of, you know, Apple Messages type group chat that we have with few people in it that we sort of generally just chat. I basically share my every thought on the thing, which is probably oversharing, probably more than people actually want to read. But it's a very active chat that we have. There's a lot of chatter going on. Is Rossman not doing that? I miss Rossman board. Yeah, well, I don't think he does do board repairs anymore. I mean, he might, but he mainly just talks to camera these days. That's what I've seen. It's just him sitting at a desk spouting off his opinions. And to be honest, I don't really rate many of his opinions. I get the guy's a smart guy, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of the time he comes to conclusions without having all of the facts at his disposal. I've seen a couple of instances where he's basically come out and he's behaved like he has the answer to a problem without actually knowing all of the ins and outs of that particular problem he was describing. And yeah, I sort of, for that reason, I don't particularly, oh God, there's more of it over there. Oh, never mind, I'll come back to that. For that reason, I don't particularly like his little social commentary streams. I used to, I mean, I have so much I owe to him in terms of his repair streams. It's what got me into repairing computers. And I've said this before on my live stream, but I actually started doing repairs to Mac laptops before I started doing this sort of work. And then when I started getting heavily into the vintage computer work, I decided to repurpose those soldering skills into restoring the Macs and recapping and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of how it happened with me. That's a lot of mask. Yeah, our searches for facts to support opinions. Yes, let's face it, we all know that you can basically you can research and find things to support what you want for pretty much anything you like, really. And of course, when I did my initial flux expose that I did a while ago. This is a couple of years ago now. And essentially what it was found out was that a company was selling two different types of product with essentially the same thing in the tube. Just the only thing that was different was the label. That was essentially the premise of the expose, was that, what you are getting in that tube is not... one of them was the right product, but in the other one, it was the wrong product for the label. And anyhow, when that expose kind of, when the feces hit the fan, that started getting spread on, like, Rossman's, his forums and stuff like that. And he himself commented on it, but he was very dismissive of it. He was pretty much just like, I know I'm buying the genuine product from so-and-so. And it's like, you missed the point. I'm not saying it's counterfeit. I'm saying that you've been buying a product where what is on the label is not in the tube. You think you're buying product A, but you're actually buying product B. But as I say, that was probably about the last time I had any sort of contact with Rossman. By that stage, I'd pretty much stopped watching him because he doesn't do this vintage stuff. I've been doing the vintage stuff for ages. And he'd even stopped doing a lot of those repair videos. Just doing more of the social commentary type stuff. Yeah, I agree with you there, Nick. Life's too short for just sitting there listening to a lot of the crap that he spits out, Okay, there's quite a lot of surface area here, so it's taking me a while to cure this. You can see it changing. Starts off shiny, and then it goes to more of a matte finish when it's cured. I do support right to repair. Oh, absolutely, 100%. I've got absolutely, or as we say in Australia, no, 100%. Right to repair, I think, is a very, very important thing. The stuff that was happening with, I think it was the John Deere tractors, was, in my opinion, was absolutely disgraceful. I mean, if you're a farmer, one of the things that farmers do on a regular basis is have to repair the equipment they use, and they have to do it fast because it's the thing that makes them their money. So, farmers get very, very good at doing on-the-spot repairs of things. And when they suddenly found that these new John Deere tractors, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything to them. If they broke, that was it. And you could switch the things on, and you'd have to sit there and wait for a firmware update, and you couldn't use the thing until it's finished. That sort of stuff. That has to stop. That, people have got to be able to, and even what Apple is doing, where you replace a component and then all of a sudden parts of the thing don't work anymore because it's not a genuine component, or two components have to be paired to each other. Just things like changing a battery, okay? Changing a battery, replacing a smashed screen, these are things that people should be able to do from third-party providers. It shouldn't be a matter of taking it back to Apple to do that. And so, I'm not talking about the component level repairs. I totally understand that the companies are not going to be in support of that. They're not going to necessarily provide you with schematics. They're not necessarily going to provide you with the custom components to then go in and replace. I get that. But things like replacing batteries and replacing broken screens on phones, come on. Come on. Yeah, it's hard to see a creator. Well, you know why Rossman did that? His social commentary videos were getting more views. and they were less work. So, I mean, you can't really blame him for doing it, but for a viewer that actually is interested in the other type of content, it's like, oh, okay, sorry, mate, you lost me. You lost me there, champ. Gone, mate, I'm gone. Right, so let's get back to this and try again. This is take 2 of me putting this component on. And now I'm pretty sure on the SE30 board, every single capacitor on this side of the board, positive faces that way, to the left of what we're looking at the moment. Now these are tantalum capacitors. They have the stripe on the positive side. That's because whoever invented them liked to just be different. They didn't want to actually make things logical and make the stripe on the negative side in the same way they are on electrolytic capacitors. They just wanted to make things a little bit harder for us, because they're a bunch of assholes. Yeah, beautiful. Haven't forgotten how to do it. I want the STL file to print my iMac bezels. Seriously, I did buy 10 bezels, 10 of them. Oh, because that's right, they had that thingy. So, Nick, the Mac Effects guys have pretty much said that they did try it. They went to a professional 3D printing company, gave them the STL and asked them to 3D print it, and they were unsuccessful. They weren't able to get that bezel to be strong enough with 3D printing, as strong as it needed to be. There's a great big discussion about it on Tinker Different, and so they might release the STL further down the track. We'll see. I'm not really sure, but they did basically comment that it is not a shape that lends itself to being 3D printed and then being strong enough to support the weight it needs to support. So I would say that don't sort of hold your breath for that. No, it was 68k MLA, not Tinker Different. My mistake. I did read that guy who was ranting and raving that he wanted the STL file. Yeah, he didn't make any friends that day. I can tell you that for sure. What a pillock! So privileged. It's like that. Oh yeah, you should give it to me. You should give it. That's what you should do. I was just like, why do you think you deserve that, mate? What makes you so special that you think these people that have put in all this time and effort should just hand this thing over to you? I mean, seriously, mate, why don't you make it yourself? If you think you can do it, go and model it and print it yourself. It was interesting. I just assumed it was a child. The way he was behaving, I was just so sure it was a child in the chat. And then he talked about the job that he was working, that he'd been doing for years. And I thought, oh, okay, you're not a child. You're just a dickhead. Got to head out. I'll watch the post-stream video later. Thank you very much, Paul. Joe. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate that. And I totally understand. I mean, I've been going now for 2.5 hours. I want to finish this up because I'm hungry. Kiaps. I would love to be able to test this before I finish up, even though that CPU is sitting kind of proud, which I don't know if it's going to work like that. I might have to spend some time trying to figure out what's going on there. Duct tape and gum wrappers. That'll do it. Oh, I got to do the smash thing. I haven't done the smash thing all night in ages. So ready, steady. Put your fingers in your ears. It's loud.
Smash that like button.
I do appreciate all the smashes. Thank you. Smash that like button. When I model something in 3D, I will almost always share it, but I certainly will not accept someone demanding that I share it. No way, Jose. I smashed the dislike button twice, but the like only once. Smash it. Feel like he's a little bit crooked. Go. We've got another one up here, and then I think 3 more, and then we're good to go. And we can even probably throw some power at this and see what it does. We'll use, so I don't have to pull down an analog board, we'll use Will's cool little thing that I was demonstrating earlier on. So that came out sounding terrible, didn't it? The Will's invention. Oh, look at that. Thanks for sharing your STL files. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the super chat, Chris. That's much appreciated. Yeah, and look, to some extent I also do, I'm happy to take requests. I mean, I have made some, I haven't posted these yet, and there's a reason why I haven't posted them. It's mainly because I've shared them, but I built them using, I built some of these models using an older piece of 3D software, and I kind of want to reproduce them on the new 3D software that I use now. Which it's a possibility they may end up becoming an affiliate. But anyhow, I've made some legs for keyboards, and what else? I've made lots and lots of brackets for things like SCSI 2SD, Blue SCSI, Zulu SCSI, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, not always, but sometimes if someone says, I'd really like to have a model of this, if it's something that I think will be of benefit to people, I might end up making it. And if it's something that I've got that I can copy from, because I like things to be accurate. So, for example, the little reset button on the side of the Mac 2, Mac 2X, 2FX, SE and SE30, I remodeled that. There was one already on Thingiverse that I didn't like, and I don't think I've shared that one yet. I need to sort that out, because the one I made was so much more accurate than the original. Sorry, than the one that was available. Have I? Yeah, I've fully switched over to Onshape, and I've been in touch with Onshape as well about a potential affiliate partnership. They've replied to me, and and we'll see how we go with that. Because, to be honest, I really like OnShape and I like singing its praises, and it makes sense if I'm going to be singing its praises, I may as well have an affiliate partnership with them. But I just adore OnShape. I love the way it works. And I love how quickly I can build stuff. I can just be in a situation, like, I mean, seriously, I had this situation happen to me the other day. I don't know, it was a week ago, so maybe a month ago. I don't know, I'm not really good with time. I'm vacuuming, and all of a sudden a piece of plastic breaks on the vacuum cleaner. It's the part that holds the hose into the base of the vacuum cleaner. So as I'm vacuuming, if I go to pull the vacuum cleaner along from the hose just comes out. It's like, what a pain. So anyhow, I finished the vacuuming, very difficult job to do because I couldn't yank the hose, and if I did I had to plug the bloody thing back in again. But as soon as I finished vacuuming, I came out, grabbed the broken part, I glued it together just in case I wasn't able to successfully reproduce it, and also because it makes it easier to measure having it as one piece. Glued it together just with super glue. Took it in front of OnShape, modelled it, recreated it, 3D printed it, bang, new part, works perfectly. First go, didn't even need to make refinements to it. First one came out from the 3D printer. I printed it in 100% infill, so it'd be nice and strong. I made it more solid than the original. The original had sort of little gaps in it. I made mine solid, and then just put it in the printer and in the vacuum cleaner, and bang, done. Pa-ching. Right, so I like OnShape pretty well, but man, there are some frustrating bugs with being able to select parts to extrude. Okay, I haven't found that. I haven't had that with the certain stuff I'm modelling. You may well be modelling stuff way more complex than I am, but yeah, I haven't really had any issues with sort of extrusions or anything like that. All right, now I am going to be doing a series of tutorial videos on OnShape too, by the way. So if you are thinking, I wouldn't mind maybe giving that a try, you can watch, a couple and see if it's something that might interest you. I'm going to test this out, see if it works, and then I'll probably wrap things up so that I can go and get some munchies. Now, where's my manky speaker with a hole in it? Oh, it's nice when that thing switches off. It's always so calming. And I've got the Fume extractor on for all that time. It does get a bit annoying. Right. Now, there is some RAM for this floating around here. It's either just floating or it's in a plastic bag. I would like to think it's in a plastic bag, but it's not a certainty. I've got a ROM here. It would be very unlikely of me to just take the components out and leave them. So I am going to look here to see if I can find a plastic bag with some RAM and a ROM in it. Either that or I will just... Oh, hang on, there was a bag up here, wasn't there? Oh, excuse me. Whoopsie. I found the bag. Right. Here we go. Rest ready to test. Okay, so I've got my ROM sim here. Trusty. It's not mine, it's someone else's. So I don't know why I said that. And then I've got some RAM here. I've got 4 1s and 4 256s. I'm not going to worry about sticking the 256s in. I'll just do the 1s. Cool. This is job number 197 that we're working on today. Let's change to the top view here. And pop some RAM in the thingamy boobs, as Joe from Joe's Computer Museum would say. And I love the fact that he managed to say it on that time that he had a female guest on. Yeah. First female guest on the show, maybe second female guest on the show, and said thingamaboob. We were all really impressed with that. Okay, now, there's a very good chance this won't chime. This CPU is not actually all the way in the socket, but I'm having trouble getting it down, and I don't know why, and I do need to investigate that. But I'm thinking it's making contact with the pins, so we'll see. But it might, of course, do nothing. It might be completely and totally not working at all. Hit it with a hammer. I've got a small hammer. I've got this little hammer I could hit it with. Okay. But I do essentially what I want to do, and it's the reason why I haven't done it on the stream. I want to get a thin piece of metal about the size of a pin, and I want to individually push it down the little holes in the socket to see if there's any one or two of them that might be grabbing that aren't opening up properly for the thing to go down. Because I can't see anything there that would actually be blocking it. This is such a cool thing. Well done to Will. People should buy one. Yep. There we go. I mean, if you search for KMac, if you do a Google search for KMac Vintage, it'll take you to the page where, you know, there are links there where you can find this thing, this SE30 compact thingy. All right. So, totally expecting this not to work just because of the way that CPU is sitting. And of course, you know, it hasn't had an ultrasonic clean or anything like that, and it's very dirty. So we set our expectations fairly low at this stage, but you never know. Sometimes you get lucky with these things. Okay, if you're ready, and you're steady, and you're 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Got a chime. Yeah, and looking good. I'm getting some artifacts on the video signal, so which is probably not surprising. That's all this area here, which is very, very corroded and ugly. So I think probably after an ultrasonic clean will be okay. What we're likely to see here is when the that's the mouse cursor there. See, it's going. See what it's doing? I mean, it might be this thing, but I doubt it. I expect it's you know, video problems. So I think after an ultrasonic clean, will probably be enough. But if not, I'll have to go and do a little bit of a trace hunt. But you know, all in all, not too bad. Yeah, so some video issues, but it chimed. It's reading from the ROM. We didn't get a sad Mac chime or anything like that. It is booting and it is actually doing stuff, but we're just not getting a particularly good video signal. So I have to sort that out. But I'm not going to, I definitely will not do any more in the way of diagnostics on a board like this without ultrasonically cleaning it first. I mean, it is just so dirty. It's got dust, it's got capacitor goo, and it's got my flux gunk on there, and it's got some corrosion. So, you know, that has to be the first thing we look at, is getting it all looking clean and tidy, and then I'll test it again. But all in all, I'm feeling pretty darn good about that. Excuse me. What's going on here? What's all that about? Oi, what's all that about? There we go. Okay, one last thing, because this is something I have to do anyway before I finish the live stream. And this will be for peeps who are interested in this. And if you're not, then it might be a bit boring. But I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to get me some paper towel. Going to zoom out a bit. Here we go. Get me gloves. I have a lot of trouble with gloves because I've got great big fat sausage hands. Come on. There we go. I wonder what percentage of SE30s that were made have been recapped. I wonder what percentage of SE30s that were made are still intact. You know, I mean, regardless of whether they've been recapped or not. You know, I mean, I imagine a lot of them have ended up, you know, sort of in e-waste or landfill or something like that. So, be interesting to know. Yeah. Okay, so got my gloves. Why am I wearing gloves? I'll tell you why I'm wearing gloves. I'm about to take a 3D print out of the resin printer. Why am I struggling so much? I might have to stand up. Might actually have to stand up. Oh my god. What have I done here? Resin is gross. There we go. Got a little dude. He looks a little bit unpleasant, doesn't he? He's got a sword and he's got a shield and all that. And he looks mean and nasty. Now I've got to try and get this off. Some are easier to get off than others. I do this without damaging the print bed. Now, it's not a roller coaster. This is the way sort of 3D print supports work with resin printing. They look like little scaffolding sort of thing. It's quite nifty. Okay. That's a good starting point. Now let's... Yeah. Don't want to break anything in the process of removing this. No. Now, some of these are way easier to get off than others, and it depends on the slicing process. So this is a pre-sliced model, and it's a test model that came with the printer. And that's why I'm using it, because it's it's what they provided with it. But it's sliced in such a way that the way it's attached to the print bed is really, really hard to remove. When I slice the models myself, oh my God, there we go, it's off. When I slice the models myself, I put the supports that you put on it have actually got like a little lip, so they're almost like a little bowl, and so you can get things underneath those and pry them off really easily. This is the hardest one I've ever had to get off, and that might be something to do with this resin. This is a resin I haven't used before. I'm testing this one out. But yeah, so that's a little 3D model. He's going to go into the washer now to get all the excess resin off, and then he'll get cured under UV, and then he'll be ready to go. And you get an idea once they've been washed just how much detail they have in them. When they're fresh out of the printer, they still kind of they don't have the precision because they've got like resin sitting on the outside of them. But once they get washed, you can just see how incredibly detailed they are. So when do the supports come off? The supports come off after the washing, before the curing. So I will wash all of the excess resin off. It'll still be a little bit softer then at that stage. I will then take the supports off, and then it will go in and get UV cured with the supports off. So that's how that works there. I will drop this into this alcohol solution now. Oh, I probably shouldn't have put it in that way. That was a dumb thing. damage his little head. There we go. Stand him up that way. And then that will be washed. And it's messy, it's smelly, but the end results are quite amazing. So for anyone who's wanting to get into it, yes, messy, smelly, but you cannot deny the level of detail that you get using resin printing, especially this one here. It's 14K. The resolution on it is just spectacular. All right, so this is the part of the video where I thank everyone for being here. I thank everyone for keeping the chat lively. Had a lot of people here today. It was absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate that. Thank you for all those super chats that came in. That was wonderful as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very happy with the stream today. It went quite well. We got that cool little thing working from Will for K-Make Vintage. That was absolutely fantastic. Recapped at SE30 and got it to chime. Needs a clean, but we got it to chime. And I also pulled a whole bunch of components off an old SE30 board ready to stick onto my reloaded board. So all in all, I consider this live stream not only was a lot of fun, it was also incredibly productive. So thank you to everyone for being part of the live stream. And I do hope to see you all at the next one if you want to come along. And that will probably be, I would say, next week. Lots of stuff in the pipeline at the moment. My next video out I've got two ideas. I've got I'm thinking about doing a really quick little helping type video. But the next one is going to be the next one I release is big one I release is going to be a project video, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. And I think people are going to really enjoy that. So, once again, thank you to you all. Thank you for joining me. I have lost my mouse cursor. There it is. And I will press this button here and I will say end stream. And I'll say thanks again and bye-bye.